heels of one of the most interesting Money in the Bank pay-per-views of all time, and that's saying a lot. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 8 of Under the Middle Rope. I'm your host, Jose Tawada. First off, before we go on, yes, you can see here new filters, a new stand to give this a bit of a more professional look. And again, I couldn't do it without all your help. So thank you again, for those that have become a patron, and for those that are, helping support the channel. It's stuff like this that, I want to keep bringing to you guys. So I'm happy I have this. So once again, thank you so much for all that support. But of course, that's not that important right now. What's more important is, yes, like I said, we are on the heels of one of the more interesting Money in the Bank pay-per-views ever. And right off the bat, that was something. I guess, it was a bit all over the place. Not a bad pay-per-view for sure, but a lot of points that brought a lot of discussion, a lot of stuff that brought some shocks, especially the one bigger one that we're going to get into later on in the show. And of course, if you haven't noticed, or maybe you didn't, and I'm just going to tell you, I am not holding the Under the Middle Rope Championship because, yes, after just one pay-per-view, I've been dethroned, which sucks, of course, and you'll find out who is our new Under the Middle Rope champion. And it's funny, I forgot that I lost the title, that I forgot to bring it up right away at the start of the podcast, so I unveiled that new champion later on. So that's nothing much to it. RJ, Pete, and Wolf, we're all back. The guys who help predict the show are back for the fallout of the show, so that should be very interesting. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Money in the Bank fallout. All right, everybody, welcome to the discussion. Everybody from last week is here. Pete, RJ, Wolf, we are ready to get right into this surprisingly entertaining Money in the Bank pay-per-view, Gentlemen. First thoughts before we get into this? RJ, let's start with you.
Hey, I loved it. I had a blast. I thought it was a good show. It wasn't 7 hours long like most pay-per-views. It cut before 3 hours, which was really nice timing.
That's true.
And I had fun with most of the matches. I thought they did a pretty good job. I don't know if I'm the only one in this little square here that thinks that, but I really like the pay-per-view.
Let's go to Pete as Wolf is trying to get his noodles all sorted out here.
Yeah, I think it was a good pay-per-view. I thought it was a good undercard with one fantastic match on it. And I thought the main event was fun. Well, it was just fun. It was a fun main event. Not your best wrestling you're ever going to see, but it was really entertaining.
Wolf?
I watched it in chunks because The Last Dance takes priority on Sunday nights now. But from what I saw, I enjoyed it. I don't think we're going to have a match that tops Bayley and Tamina this year. I mean, they kind of set the standard for, for the room of wrestling matches anyway. But
see, you're joking, but that match was fine.
I didn't.
Okay, can we drug test RJ?
The match was fine. It was Tamina's best match ever, which isn't a high bar, but still.
Okay, that's like kind of saying, Transformers is Michael Bay's best movie. It might be true, but it's still crap.
Whoa! Hey, rewatch the match with an open frame of mind, and it's fine.
All right. Okay.
And that's me crediting Bayley more than Tamina.
All right. I'll say this. I mean, I rewatched it because I thought it was one of the worst things I've seen, and I did go in with that open mind. Now, after rewatching it, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Granted,
it's fine.
I think you know what? Before let's start with that. Let's start with that. Bayley retained her SmackDown Women's Championship against Tamina. I mean, I guess it was what it was. If I want to start off there, there was one cool spot, that spot of Tamina throwing Bayley to the ropes and then boom, the clothesline. I thought that was innovative. I think I don't think I've ever seen it before. Aside from that, I mean, it's not let's not kid ourselves here. This is not something special. Tamina is just Tamina, and Pete has made the easiest 20 quid I think he's ever made in his life.
20 quid,
pretty much.
Harry Potter.
I'm not saying it was anything special. I thought the match was fine. I thought Tamina did the best job she's ever done, which is not setting a high bar. And I like Bayley as an underdog, and I thought she did a good job at least trying to sell Tamina as a decent amount of a threat.
Fair.
I think Tamina's better than Nia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wolf, your thoughts on that?
Nia Jax, it's terrible, but it's watchable terrible. At least there's some personality there. No, Tamina is the worst.
Nia Jax is, I worry for her opponent.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you that. Tamina can be a little bit safer in the ring. Fine. But, I mean, again, this is still Tamina, guys. I mean, we're not, Will she be back in the spot? Probably not. Nor
Not
would
for
I
another
want-
2 years.
I don't think any of us are saying it's a 5-star classic. But
Oh no,
it was, it was okay.
I mean, like if I had to
It
give it
was
a,
fine.
if I had
It
to
would
give
get
it one,
2.5, something like that.
I'm going one.
You said you had one good spot, but like there was also like things like the super kick into the knee bar. That was a great spot in there. The fall off the top rope was a little bit clumsy and dodgy at times, but they built an okay story. It was a fine finish, and it was the right result.
Hands down the right result.
We all went into this knowing that it was going to suck, and I was surprisingly happy that it was just below average.
Yes.
It was fine.
Our bars are all over the place right now, but I mean, like I said, it was what it was. It's over. I don't think it continues. If it does, I will be shocked if it continues. But we move along here. I think that was just the first thing to get out of the way. And of course, more importantly, at the end of the day, congratulations to Pete for winning one of the most easiest bets I think I've ever seen in the history of sports betting. And I'm going to include sports betting
By
because
not getting on the Tamina train.
absolutely.
Really heading off a cliff.
I just want to point out that the guy, our friend Michael Keys, the friend that Pete, shut up.
I didn't say anything. I'm blowing up my noodles.
Jesus Christ. The friend, like Michael Keys, the friend that Pete made the bet against. The guy was so confident about Tamina. He was like legitimately like, he's like, guys, this is it. He was just so full of energy with this. And, you know, we're all looking at this guy like, sweet Jesus, you're going to be disappointed. And he was so confident. Granted, he thought that Sasha was going to turn. And I don't think we saw signs of that. Again, I know the signs are going to come soon, but I don't think so. I get unless I missed something. But once again, like, you're just in that, like, we're still waiting for that Sasha moment. Not yet.
So what do you think will happen when a turn eventually comes around?
That's what I'm wondering. I don't know. And I guess granted to Michael Keys, that could have been the spot to do it. The shock to me to win and have Sasha turn on Bayley, which would be horrendous. But
I think I want to see it the other way around. I think I want to see Bayley turn on Sasha.
I do too.
I don't know if Sasha starts to maybe come close to costing her a match, and then I want to see Bayley go fully heel and turn Sasha face rather than turn Sasha heel on Bayley.
RJ, you want to expand on that? No?
Yeah, I agree, because I really like this like role model style character that Bayley's going with right now. When she was totally face, like she started off hot in NXT, but then people kind of started to not really care about her that much. And then all of a sudden, you know, she puts on this good heel character, and I don't think we've really seen Sasha as like that true like face, other than that like little back and forth she had with Charlotte, where that was just kind of like, who was even the face and heel in that scenario back then? Don't even remember.
I mean, exactly.
So I would like to see Sasha go face, but I don't think that the turning is going to happen unless it's for the title. I don't think Sasha is going to cost Bayley the title, because I don't think she wants to feud with Bayley unless it's over the title.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. I don't think she's going to cost Bayley the title. I think she's going to turn on her while she's still the champion.
Wolf, did you have anything to add before we move on?
Sasha's got to be the face. You know, I like Bayley. You know, it's like a not as good version of what Dr. Britt Baker's doing, but the character is interesting. And if they go further with that against, like, you know, someone that's on her side, then that could be fun. But, you know, Bayley versus Sasha won't be as fun as the blow-off match between Dr. Britt Baker and Tony Schiavone.
And Sasha's got to keep the blue hair, even if she's in face. Blue hair's got to stay.
All right, second cup.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was happy when I was at the Raw after SummerSlam, saw the blue hair. I'm like, oh, that was just great.
You were there?
The Raw after
SummerSlam's in Toronto.
Yeah, that was.
I think you just went to SummerSlam. I didn't know you were at a Raw.
Hold on. I think Wolf's trolling.
No, I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling.
Oh, you legitimately? You say okay?
Yeah,
because it's sometimes
always on.
I don't know, dog. Let's move.
Why would that even be a big deal?
Yeah. I was at the Raw when Sasha returned for her first appearance at WrestleMania. So, and then the blue hair, which was great. Let's move. Let's move down the card first, because I know there was a really big piece of news for Raw last night. I'll get to that when we get to the Money in the Bank. So let's get to it. The Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship open up the night. The New Day retaining. It was a result that we all expected. We all got.
Oh, I didn't get this right.
No,
oh, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. You forgot about the Suns again, man.
Jose, can you stop rubbing salt in our wounds?
I'm sorry. Whoa, just had a look.
After watching the
on
match,
this
though, I'm like,
podcast.
why did I pick the Forgotten Sons?
Don't
Like,
make me
New
come
Day
up
was
there.
still winning this match.
let's start with Pete here. Your thoughts on the match overall?
Jackass.
I thought it was a very good match, actually. I thought they showed all the teams in there had some good chemistry with each other. The Forgotten Sons got an okay showing, which is what they needed in this. Every team got their spots. The Lucha House Party were obviously there to take the pinfall. They took the pinfall. And yeah, the New Day just won those titles. Like, you'd have to be an idiot not to think they were going to keep them for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. RJ?
Hey, they've always got the titles. You never know if they just flip them over to somebody else. After watching the match, like I just said, I can't believe I picked the Forgotten Sons to win. I'm like, well, this one seems like maybe it was a little more obvious than I wanted it to be. But I wanted to go out on a limb and pick the Forgotten Sons. But yeah, like Pete said, it was a pretty good match. I'm always a sucker for these multi-man tag matches. I think that they're always a blast. So I was happy with the match, and it was probably the right result.
Wolf?
I hate you, Pete. But you know, it's basic beat by beat 4-way match. You know, nothing really special stood out about it. John Morrison excelled, but he always does. I think he works great with lucha wrestlers. I think that really comes from his time in Mexico. Like, I really want to see like a good match with him and Rey Mysterio. So,
absolutely.
That's kind of my takeaway. You know, he's really good at that style. That's something he picked up and excels at. So, that's kind of all I got. And screw you, Pete.
Yeah, his matches in Lucha Underground were very much showed that as well.
I thought the match was great too. I thought it was a good way to kick off Money in the Bank. Very good timed, well paced. A lot of good spots here and there, and frankly, kind of like what Wolf says, like your traditional fatal 4-way match, especially for a tag team. But it's that traditional stuff I think a lot of people like, and you do got a really good, great, solid core of guys there, Miz, Morrison, Kofi, and so on and so forth, that can really help enhance those matches, and that's what they do. They're just so I'm gonna say I thought it was a solid start. I think maybe 3.5 out of 5. I would give it maybe. Yeah. Anybody else?
Probably about that.
Once again, before we move on to
what?
Before we move on to the next match, there's something that I should have done at the start of the podcast, and I did it because we just wanted to get right into it. But I am no longer under the middle rope champion. I dethroned right off the first pay-per-view defense. Kind of sad, very sad.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to be
Johnny Gargano.
But yes, our new under the middle rope champion by a tiebreaker. We're gonna get to the tiebreaker later on. The man to my right, the lovely Mr. Pete Atkinson, is our new under the middle rope champion, who now gets the little championship graphic there on the corner of his screen.
And you're
now.
mailing him the belt.
Isn't it beautiful? Look how beautiful it is.
I don't see it. It's not showing up.
It's called editing, Wolf. Editing. If don't get me wrong, if I'm able to do this as we record, it'd be great. But that's just the power of editing. So congratulations to you, Pete. It may be a short range short range.
It's called editing, Jose.
Post production, I'll get that one.
Yeah, good. Short-lived reign. There we go. Because we do have Double or Nothing coming up very, very shortly. So embrace it, Pete. I will mail you if I can mail you like a little paper WWE Championship. I will do that because I'm not gonna mail the physical belt. Who are we kidding? Let's move on, guys, down the list here. This was the one that, of course, that got Pete the win here because of the tiebreaker. 6:25 was what I picked in minutes. Pete picked 10:50. The match by Wikipedia time, as we like to go for. 10:43 was that the final total?
1 second.
I went over.
10:55 was Wikipedia. Pro Fight had it at 10:35.
Hang on, I gotta go answer the door real quick. I'll be right back.
Either way, I was within about 10-15 seconds.
Yeah, very, very close. And of course, I think also now's a good time because, like I said, I'm a bit over. Here's the graphic for all the matches that we all got right and whatnot. Again, fairly close. Not that much exciting in terms of like us picking predictions. So hopefully we'll see if the next pay-per-view brings that. But yeah, that tiebreaker really sealed it for Pete. RJ, your thoughts on the match? Strowman Wyatt.
Yeah, I thought it was what it was. I mean, like, it's tough to say because it wasn't a great wrestling match, but it did move the story along in a way that we were expecting it. I was expecting some Bray Wyatt shenanigans, not necessarily in that way. The Fiend didn't show up, but his puppet showed up and everything like that. And then Braun totally messing with Bray at the end with the mask was a nice touch on the story as well. So again, it wasn't your 5-star wrestling match, but I think it did the job that it was supposed to do and moved it on to its next match where Wyatt is probably going to eventually finally take the belt from him.
Pete?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it was a good match. It was better than I expected it to be, actually, because Bray's not the best in-ring performer. I don't think anyone's going to claim that.
Nope.
But it was actually
Nor
better
is
than I thought
Braun.
it was going to be. I thought it was a good story behind it. There's some good spots in there. The kick out of the Sister Abigail, I don't know why they sold it so heavily, but
Yeah.
oh my god, he kicked out.
Yeah.
Everyone does that.
No one really bought it, but I thought the story played out well. The mask, everyone who's a wrestling fan knew what was going to happen from a mile away when that happened, but I think it's the right thing, and it now gives the Fiend a reason to go after Braun as well, I think, because previously he still sort of saw him as a friend. Now he's tricked him, he's betrayed him, etc. I think the Fiend now can come after Braun, and that's potentially a SummerSlam match. Or it might be before. It might be Backlash.
Could be Backlash.
I don't think they're going to stretch it that long.
I feel like they could, because I don't see Backlash as the be-all end-all right there, which, by the way, is June 14th. That's our next.
It's gonna have the
WWE
greatest
pay-per-view.
match of all time on it. What are you talking about?
Oh, sweet Jesus!
We'll get to that.
Wolf, your thoughts on your thoughts on the Strowman Wyatt match?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize for just stepping away. My doorbell rang. It was Amazon Prime delivering packages for the apartment downstairs. I thought I was finally getting my complete series DVD of Coach, but I guess that's just never coming. Anyway, I could hear you guys the whole time though, wireless.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
I agree with RJ's points. Like, I really enjoyed the mask. That's like, there's some story. This match could have just been terrible, and they played on the history and Strowman and Wyatt, which, if everyone knows me, I'm a sucker for continuity. So I appreciated that. It wasn't a great match, but Bray Wyatt's never been known as like Will Ospreay in that regard. So I enjoyed it for the entertainment value and the storytelling. And I hope that it goes somewhere, where the Fiend actually wins. But again, I don't know if the Fiend necessarily needs the title. It's like The Undertaker never did. So who knows? You never know. Maybe Otis catches in on Braun. I don't know. Oh, did I just?
No, I mean, I put it in the graphic earlier, but we'll get to that soon. See, I think the one thing that I took away from this was that it kind of like, Braun's title win felt rushed. It felt last minute. Obviously it was, right? But like it felt like all of a sudden, and that was a spot that I think a lot of people wanted him in that world title reign years before. Now that it has, and then I think that match somewhat helped him be locked into that position, like that true position power, like with the mask and kind of like overtaking Wyatt, overcoming that quote unquote fear. Like he is essentially saying, yeah, this is a new me. That was back then, and like Wolf said, there's that continuity, and I appreciate that they kind of like established Strowman as like, yeah, this is our champion now. This is what the future is for now. So I'm happy that like Braun is getting that recognition that I think is overdue. I mean, Again, like I don't know if he ever, it was getting to a point where I didn't know if he was ever going to be a champion, and now that he is, I'm happy that he's in that spot where like he can say like, yeah, I'm the guy, deal with it, let's move on. And to everybody's points, the Fiend is probably going to come in at some point, but I also agree with Wolf. I don't want to see that title on the Fiend again, but I feel like it's inevitable at this rate. I don't know.
They want Roman versus the Fiend, and again, we don't really know when Roman's coming back because of
politics.
All this. But,
yeah. So
I could see them wanting to do Bray Wyatt too after losing to Goldberg.
What?
I could see them wanting to do Bray Wyatt, like give him the belt.
Oh, yeah.
After losing to Goldberg.
Honestly, like with how that Sister Abigail, like Pete said, with how that Sister Abigail was sold Sunday night, I thought that that was gonna be the case. I legitimately thought that it was gonna be a one and done. So that's why I'm kind of relieved that they're gonna give Strowman that decent title run. I don't know if it's gonna be an effective run or if it's gonna be like a strong run, but they're gonna go with it. So I'm happy that they're gonna stick to their guns rather than just doing the flip flop and frankly, Strowman's not that guy that you just pin as a transitional champion, anyways.
Yeah.
As long as WCW Motorcycle Murder Daddy doesn't come back and squash him in 2 minutes, then I'm fine.
Murder Daddy.
Motorcycle.
I'm gonna take your belt. You're next.
Let's get to
David
the bigger.
Arquette?
Let's get to the bigger talk of the night. It was the Money in the Bank ladder matches, the men's and the women's.
Wait,
Don't
don't you mean the world title match, Drew McIntyre?
Yes.
We did miss that.
Yes, I completely forgot about the WWE Championship match.
It's called editing, Jose.
Today is a day filled with wonders, and I'm all over the place today. While Wolf is blowing away. Let's get let's get into the WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre defeated Seth Rollins. Enjoyable match, I think. Better than again another match that I personally thought was going to be better than it was going to be. Drew's got it. I thought it was great all around. Pete, let's start with you on this. Your thoughts on that match?
I thought it was an absolutely fantastic match.
Mhm.
I think it was easily match of the night from an in-ring perspective, at least anyway. Without the crowd as well, I think it was just worked so well from start to finish. And if a crowd was there, I think it's that type of match where they would be biting on every fall. They would be going. There's some great
chanting. This is awesome. 2 minutes in. Yeah.
There's some great sequences during that match, and I think Drew needed this match as well because, especially on the main roster, I don't think he's had those long matches where you look at it and go, "This guy is actually a fantastic in-ring worker," and then you see this and go, "Oh, he has that side of him as a champion as well, and he can work these 20-minute matches with the near falls, come out looking strong, put on a great show." And I thought it was brilliant. And I know some people didn't like it, but I actually really liked the aftermatch stuff as well.
Wolf.
This match would have killed in front of a crowd.
Oh yeah,
It absolutely would. But
absolutely.
for what it was, they absolutely tore it apart, and I'm really glad that Drew got that nice dominant win. And I don't know, in retrospect, the stuff with Seth after the match now makes sense a little bit, but also it seemed confusing at the time because we thought he was going to become a babyface and not some sort of, catatonic murder monster. But again, I enjoyed this match for what it was. I really did. It was fantastic.
RJ.
Yeah, I'm fully with you guys. This match is awesome. It's the best empty arena match they've had since COVID, I think. Of the non-prepackaged stuff, of the just live one-on-one in the middle of the ring, no fans, I think this is the best they possibly really could have done. Yeah. And I am so sold on Drew. Like, so sold now on Drew. Like, it's not even funny. I was a little bit, once he won the Royal Rumble, I'm like, okay, this is his big moment. And now I'm just sold on. He's this big, handsome, jacked boss. And he's funny too, and he's gonna be over with the crowd when they come back. I am so sold on Drew. I'm okay with a long run, like a dominant run.
It should be, and I think a lot of people's concerns with Drew was, will he phase out, or will he fade out? Will like the hype train just kind of like just derail with no crowd around? And so far, Drew is, I think, proving them all wrong. Drew so far has just been so like RJ said, this handsome, jacked boss that a lot of people continue to love, a lot of people continue to praise on social media, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. And then I don't think with no crowd is going to affect that at all. Drew is working that so well. He's making the best out of the situation, and he's really got it. I'm so happy he's in this position, and I don't think you can ask for anything better from Drew.
I do want to say one thing though, is I wonder because it's not really like the Roman push, but I do wonder if Roman got pushed like this when there was no fans, how it would have been perceived. Because he really got booed out of every arena he was in.
Right.
Because there's no fans, do you think if he still got that super push, it would have been, if it happened in this time of age? Because this kind of reminds me of that Roman push. It's like that push they wanted Roman to have, where it's this big, tall, muscular guy as a face that just goes and kicks ass. But that didn't work well with Roman, and it's going to work well with Drew, I think. But how much do you think that has to do with the fact that there isn't any fans?
I don't
do you think that matters at all?
I don't think fans are actually against the Roman push per se. Is how they pushed him, and the way they did it felt so unnatural and so not his character. So you built up this like dominant, muscular, physical guy who just rampages through people, and then you made him corny discount catchphrase Cena or Rock. And then everyone saw him coming out with these lines which just did not fit that character you'd come to, at least when he was in the Shield, love. You still brought him out as like a one-man Shield, and that kind of push is why the fans turned against it, because it was so corporately created and obvious what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Drew's, on the other hand, it still does fit his character. He's come out and everything he's done has felt, for the most part, very natural on building that character. So he's getting the monster push, but he's getting the monster push in a way that makes sense. And that's how it is. If Roman had got a monster push in the way that made sense, if he theoretically won the Rumble a year earlier and eliminated Batista, I don't think the fans would have actually minded and had been well behind him in that route.
Right. I mean, let's not forget that at the 2014 Royal Rumble, fans were hoping that Roman eliminated Batista, which obviously didn't happen. And I'll
was that a hoping Roman eliminated him, though, or was that just an anybody but Batista sort of situation?
Probably anybody but Batista, I think. I think in that spot. Wolf, your thoughts on that? Sorry.
I don't know if it's necessarily like fans or push even. Well, obviously that has something to do with it. I think it's more that Drew has this experience and he's been working for it for a long time, and the character is just ready for this. Whereas Roman in 2015, he was getting that push, but I don't think the character was necessarily there. The performer wasn't really up to what the fans wanted from someone in that position. So that had a big deal to do with the, how he's perceived, like to carry that kind of weight. I don't think he was ready. If Roman now got this push with no fans, like we waited until like now the performer he's become, then yeah, I'd say it'd be a lot different.
I think
I disagree there, because if you'd see how long Roman was on the main roster before he got the big title wins and won the Royal Rumble in 2015, he'd been there for like 3 years or so by then.
Yeah, but only
like
3
when John Cena came in, you see when like Batista came in, you see people like Randy Orton when they come in, they were in the main title scene long before Roman Reigns was, and they did not get that type of reaction to it of him being not ready.
Well, that's kind of my point. Drew wasn't pushed into the main title scene right away. He was the chosen one. He got the Intercontinental title. They never really pushed him as hard as they are now. They kind of waited until he was the performer he is now. And that's why, this meant so much. And now it feels more natural.
See, what I was going to add to RJ's point is that in terms of Roman, you have to also look at the booking scenarios that they kind of put him in to force that. And obviously the biggest one that comes to mind is WrestleMania 33 against The Undertaker. I mean, not only are you putting him in a match against somebody with such high value, such high stock on such a big stage, it's in the main event. And that I look at that moment, it's like, this is where I think fans were sick of it. And I think that's why that over corporate push, because that night you had Randy Bray as the WWE Championship. It could have main evented. Brock Goldberg could have main evented. I'm not saying there were main event matches, but when you look at it on paper for like a world title, yeah, it's supposed to close the show. But when you put somebody like The Undertaker, which again, who deserves a main event spot on its own just for the streak itself, but The Undertaker was already diminished at that point with the one loss from WrestleMania 30. Roman, it wasn't like such a strong build to begin with to put it in the main event spot, and all of a sudden, boom, it goes right to the main event to close the night with Jim Ross there, with the way that Taker closed the night after that. It's just, when you put Roman in that spot, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I think that's why a lot of fans were upset. And like I said, to Pete's point, was that corporate push. So I think that if Roman was being pushed now in the spot that Drew is in, yes, I think it'd be a better result for him. But I think you also have to look at just where Roman was at the time, and I think just WWE just set him up in so many positions that of course fans are going to reject him, and I can't blame him. I mean, like the one versus all Royal Rumble, he's going to overcome Triple H. The Force 2015 Royal Rumble win against Brock, which obviously resulted in that big Seth cash in and whatnot, but. I think Roman was just a victim of bad booking, and I think if he had like that Drew push, I think we'd all be more appreciative of him. I think
the timing was bad too. The timing was bad too because he was in the Shield with two people that were a little more popular with the hardcore fan base too, who I think also would have deflected that. It's like, why are you going with this Roman guy when we have Dean and we have Seth that are both more talented than him? So I think that had a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah.
I think that was another big problem with it. Is when the Shield broke up, you went into the Ambrose versus Rollins feud, and Roman kind of just
Didn't care.
went off to do his own stuff.
Whatever, man.
And it's like, why was he not completely involved in that feud at that time? Why were you not building it around that? And then if you move him into the main event picture from that type of feud, that again makes more sense. But I think someone put out in a video recently, the Money in the Bank that year, which obviously Seth Rollins won, but Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were both in the Money in the Bank match. And Roman Reigns was in the ladder match for the world title on the same card.
Mm-hmm.
And it was those little things where you went, it became a little bit too obvious what they were doing, and the story just disappeared.
Yeah, so that's why I said he's just a victim of bad booking, because I think he could have booked Roman way better. And again, like I do think he's got the talent. I know people argue that he doesn't. I'm not saying that he doesn't have it. I think the charisma could be a little bit better with Roman, but again, just a victim of bad booking and the victim of like just that traditional John Cena push, that traditional Hulk Hogan push that I don't think worked for a guy like Roman. And who could, I mean, and I think one final point, so because we do got to move on. You look at that Shield, to Pete's point, you look at that Shield triple threat on Battleground, right? Of like one of the most B pay-per-views you could possibly find in a WWE calendar year. I don't remember the build to it, but I do know from in hindsight, it just felt like, in hindsight, I do feel like it was just thrown in there just to say we have the Shield in a triple threat for the world title. Yeah. It's stuff like that.
One last point.
Go on. Last point.
If theoretically at WrestleMania 31, we had Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan, so what every fan wanted that year. If you had Brock Lesnar, if Daniel Bryan had gone on to win that Rumble and gone on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and you're given that, and then you had the Shield triple threat earlier in the card, you still have Rollins win the Money in the Bank. Roman can even win the Shield triple threat, and then Rollins still cashes in the main event cashes in Daniel Bryan instead.
That might alter perception of Rollins.
But that's what I'm saying. But then you build Roman from there, then you're probably in a way better position than giving him that ultra push straight out the gates in a storyline that didn't make sense.
I just want to point out that, like, I think if in that scenario, because we do got to move on. Can you imagine the reaction if Daniel Bryan was to be cashed in in the end of the main event again of a pay-per-view? That would have been either some big heel moment or a riot in Santa Clara. Let's move on, guys, because I mean, not that it's not a great discussion, but we still have two very important matches to deal with, which we are now going to get to. Now I got this right. The Money in the Bank ladder matches, the men's and women's simultaneously happening at the same time. What a crazy half hour was it? What was it? Half hour-ish around there. It ended at around 9:30.
25 minutes.
Yeah, 9:30. It's Eastern time, which again caught a lot of us off guard. Oh, was it 10:30? I thought it was 9:30.
Or no, it started at 7, not 8. Never mind. Yeah, 9.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
wow, that was early. Good for us.
There we go. Good for Pete. Pete can actually like watch the pay-per-view in its entirety. That's what I'm more happy about.
It finished at 2:30. I was buzzing. 2:30 in the morning. I was like, yes.
I don't know where we start with this because it is all over the place. The men started in the headquarters gym. The women started in the lobby. A lot of fun cameo moments. A lot of good like comedic relief. I'm gonna start with Wolf on this one because Wolf was the one in the coming weeks more outspoken about this. The one that was like really looking forward to this. Wolf, your thoughts on the whole thing and any moments that stood out to you, because it's hard to cover it moment by moment without like, you know, going over or without like just oversaturating it. So what do you got?
Why did no one climb the building? Where were the suction cups? Where was Brock Lesnar tossing barrels? This was not anything I wrote. It's like Vince McMahon's not even watching this podcast. I mean, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Damn it. I sat in WrestleMania 35 with a light shining in my eyes. The least you could do is use my booking ideas. But anyway.
I too sat in a light. Yes, I too. Yes.
It's still one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard. But in practice, it was pretty funny. It was entertaining. I'll give it that. But we find out that Bruce Pritchard puts on his full Brother Love makeup to go take a poop.
Yep.
I guess that's so no one can see how red he gets when he's in there. why did Stephanie McMahon record her cameo over Zoom?
Yeah, what
It's
was
like so obvious. Like, Jesus Christ, can you
Yeah,
at least, put a chair or something, make it
Yeah.
kind of look like you're in the room? It almost looks
what
like
are you
Princess
doing?
Leia in Rise of Skywalker. It's like, okay, we know you're trying, but it's very obvious that she's not really there. You might as well go with the full hologram at that point. But I mean, the cameos are fun. I enjoyed it. I love the idea that John Laurinaitis is there at 9:00 at night, just riding a scooter around the cafeteria. Yeah. Why would Vince McMahon not know that there's a match going on in his building?
Oh, that got me laughing.
Oh, that was so funny, though.
Like, he's shocked that people are having a wrestling match at the place where they're scheduled to have a wrestling match at the time they're scheduled to have a wrestling match. And I saw a good joke. Why didn't AJ Styles turn to the T-Rex skull and say, "What's that? Some sort of large turkey?"
Oh man.
Yeah, they should have really made it like at least acknowledge the T-Rex. What is this?
I like they didn't. Just leave it.
Just there.
Rearrange the chairs, get ready, move forward.
I have more, but I'll pass it on.
RJ.
All right. I had an absolute blast watching this match. It was not good in the best way. In the best way. So I wasn't expecting a masterpiece of wrestling, but I was entertained so thoroughly from the get-go. When Daniel Bryan walks in with that smirk on his face, like, who's ready to kick some ass today, boys? Like, they look like they're having so much fun for the entire time they're having this match. Like, so many ridiculous things, like Otis putting a weight bar on AJ Styles when he's on like a bench press so he can't stand up. First of all, how the hell did he get out of that? Who helped AJ? Don't know.
Slide underneath it. Anyone could have just slid underneath it. It's like you just turn your head and just slide under. I'm like, guys, come on.
Dana Brooke slipping on a wet floor to take herself out of the match. Hilarious. Baron Corbin just straight murdering people on the roof. Hilarious. The fact that freaking Otis wins is my favorite part of the whole match, and I don't care what any of y'all think about that. Is he going to win the championship? Probably not. Is he a 5-star worker? Probably not. Is he probably going to lose the case to Dolph Ziggler? Probably. But I was so happy when that freaking briefcase fell into Otis's hands, and I'm just like, this is amazing. And it's foreshadowed at the beginning too, when AJ's like, you're the luckiest man in the world. And then at the end of the match, AJ drops the case into Otis's lap, and I had a blast watching this match, and I wasn't expecting anything different, and I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. I had so much fun.
Pete.
Oh yeah, I loved this match, but there's certain things that we did learn from this match. We've learned that WWE have the worst lifts in their headquarters, or elevators, as you'd Americans would say, in their headquarters ever. Like Asuka gets in that in like the first minute, which was brilliant. I love Asuka was the MVP of this match, 100%. But she got in the lift straight away, takes it, you'd assume, as high as possible, and then the other superstars scrambling upstairs, stopping each other, get up to the floor that she's going to before her.
Yeah, that's
was
true to me. I didn't know how to handle that. That was silly to me. But I like how Asuka had a game plan, and that's why she won. I like that.
Yeah. But then you also had the brilliant moments. As you said, AJ got trapped by a barbell. He then got locked in a room with his PTSD stuff with the Taker. And then they just didn't explain how he got out of it. And I love that they didn't explain it. The same way they didn't explain how he got out of that grave. They just pass over it. He just kept appearing. Perfect.
We locked him in a room with the...
Then I said Rey Mysterio lived up to his own theme song. Who's that falling out the sky?
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio. There he goes. Sorry for the language.
Jose, you okay?
I'm great. That's fantastic. Who's that falling off the sky?
Corbin breaking the mirror, like so many gold moments in this match.
Yeah.
Why was he so like shaken by that? It's like he had that weird, Simon and Garfunkel "Hello Darkness" moment. Like,
what
is
7 years bad luck?
Why am I wearing a crown?
Yeah.
What the hell happened to me?
Any last points, Pete, before I get to mine?
You go. I'll probably interrupt later on.
Yeah. Well, first of all, if there was one rule that I learned from wrestling fans, is don't apply logic to wrestling. This was definitely that time where you don't apply it in the slightest bit.
The most fun when you don't.
I loved it. I mean, yeah, yes. In hindsight, it was technically bad because it was all over the place. But at the same time, it's this kind of match that it is supposed to be all over the place. So, I'm not it was bad technically, but I'm not gonna say it was like a good kind of bad. I think, in my opinion, you guys said it all already. I mean, there's so many fun moments. McMahon, the mirror, the roof situation, the fact that Baron Corbin was getting mad at Asuka for getting her briefcase first, which
that's so Corbin.
You idiot! Like, it's two separate briefcases. You are not assigned the white one. You're assigned the green one
too.
He would have been women's champion though.
It's true. He would have been women's champion. And it's just so. I thought it was just so funny that like Corbin just so eager and just messes up, and the PTSD moment with AJ. Dana, I think at one point a lot of people forgot Dana Brooke grabbing a briefcase that's filled with actual money and embracing it, and then Stephanie saying no, that's not the briefcase. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but there's a championship, and then there's what it looks like to be a good couple $100,000 in a briefcase.
Dana Brooke's rich. She's gonna go buy Batista dinner.
She's not very smart though. She doesn't know that the actual case is on the roof, and she can't see a wet floor sign on the ground either.
I gotta say though, I kind of love that there was like a little Money in the Bank room, and then Carmella smashing her frame on her, and the food fight. Paul Heyman, I think we all forgot to bring that up.
Why would Heyman be there if Lesnar's not there? God damn it! Where's my Brocky Kong? God damn.
Oh man, so. Now that we got all the fun stuff out of the way, let's get to the results. Let's start off with Asuka. Even before the Raw twist, first of all, in the history of Under the Middle Rope, when everybody predicts Shayna, it does not happen. We are 0 for 2 for everybody at the same time. Let's get that very clear. But Asuka was a great winner. I'm happy that it's not Shayna. First of all, I'm happy that was wrong. I could not be any happier for Asuka, and it kind of makes. I mean, in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, Asuka technically is like a good recipient to win that briefcase because she's already done a lot already. To Women's Championship, SmackDown, NXT Women's Championship, the Royal Rumble, etc., etc. So great on her for that. I think that was the right winner. She is obviously an MVP in entertainment, but I can't complain on that. I don't think anybody else has. If anybody else has anything else to add on to that, but I think are we all in unison?
Yeah. For sure.
I'd also say though as well, like even just in this empty arena shows, Asuka has probably been the MVP of those as well. Like her entertainment value she's brought in the no fan weekly episodes of Raw have been excellent, and she probably deserves this. And it was the person I wanted to see win it as well.
Yeah. So I don't know why none of us predicted Asuka, but.
Well, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I wanted it to happen.
I think it was in the back of our minds, maybe. If not Shayna, I guess Asuka.
It will be Asuka if it's not Shayna.
Because Dana Brooke.
It's a bit disappointing how Shayna went out of this match, though. When she basically just got slammed into a wall and then wasn't seen in the rest of the 5 minutes that the women's match went on for, and the rest of the match that the men's match went on for. So apparently, just throw her into a wall, and that's her out of action.
Yeah.
I would have loved if Shayna just showed up and said, saw that she lost and just decided to throw Baron Corbin off the roof because she was so mad.
Perfect.
Okay, can I just talk? Can I talk about the roof spot? I'm sorry.
Sure. No, please.
I have thoughts.
It's why this platform exists.
Okay. I have no problem if you're going to go with the idea that you're throwing someone off the roof, but don't show a wide shot of the secondary roof.
With the crash mat on it.
With the crash pads right there. B, edit out the sound so you don't immediately hear a thump of a crash pad. If it was live, I'd understand, but guys, you had time to take out that sound. C, or 3, I don't know if I was doing letters or numbers.
I can't remember.
Anyway, commentary decides to tell you who wins and not that there's been a graphic freaking murder on the roof twice, and the cops don't come to immediately arrest you before you can murder someone else. Oh, good Lord. And then the next night on Raw, and here after Money in the Bank, we have Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black teaming up. It feels like they realized that they goofed and showed the second roof. God damn it. I guess they're still alive. Friggin'.
We fell into a roof.
They did say they got thrown on. Yeah, they got thrown on the roof.
It feels like, Batman versus Superman. maybe we should just say that the town was empty and like there wasn't that many people killed. Like, you know, in Man of Steel, you know, there was a lot people noticed, so I guess we have to cover that.
See, it's funny you bring that up because, yeah, you did have Corbett explain the next night. He's like, guys, there's a secondary roof that everybody forgot about. I'm like, nobody forgot about that.
I think it'd be funnier if they just went with it and didn't show the cross pad. It was just like, we're going to go with this. They threw off the roof. It's wrestling. It's
Lucha Underground would have went with it. Lucha Underground would have totally.
Yes, he got thrown off the roof, but AJ also just showing up out of nowhere after getting buried. And Kane has half a face, and the Undertaker's is a dead man. Like, it's wrestling. They could have just gone with the fact that people are just getting thrown off roofs.
Have Big Show catch them with like a jetpack. Like, no one gets thrown off a roof again.
I think if they were going to do it, I would have liked to see them. If they were going to pretend it was thrown through, do it with AJ and just set a trend of just killing AJ at every
oh my God, they killed AJ.
So we're going to do the South Park reference every single time, and sometimes it might be right at the start of the show, and then other times we might have to wait. And then other times, right at the end of the show, it won't have happened yet, and they go, "Oh, they've broken the trend," and then right as it just shows the closing graphics, you see AJ walk out the building, get hit by a car.
I wish they could have kept Anderson and Gallows so you could do the "Oh my God, they killed AJ." You bastards!
Yeah. And then the next night on Raw, he always just comes back, no explanation ever. And then everyone just pretends it never happened.
It's funny. I mean, I feel like there's going to be like a lot of like hardcore wrestling fans that are going to be mad at AJ and that's about like, oh my God, they're not using him. Jim Cornette. But I'm like, are you kidding me? AJ would work that way too. I mean, look how well he sold the PTSD of like the room of the random room in WWE HQ, a random room that just happens to have purple light, a casket, and urn. Like, it's just brilliant. Just there's a room for everything in WWE headquarters. Yeah. Let's get to the biggest shock of the night, and that was obviously Otis winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. Yeah. We spoke about the blunder. RJ brought up the foreshadowing of AJ. You know, the slip, the fumble. I forgot who showed me. A friend of mine showed me there was like a meme of like an NFL ref looking at a challenge replay booth. Then the caption says, after further review of the play, AJ Styles did fumble the Money in the Bank briefcase. Otis possession. I was laughing at that. Holy crap. We all predicted AJ. We all got that wrong again. And once again,
Otis, though.
I mean,
not really. We didn't know. I didn't know I wanted it until it happened.
If you were going to rank the chances of everybody winning that match,
it's about
he would be second bottom, maybe.
I'd still put Dolph Ziggler at the bottom because somehow he's just always.
He wasn't in the match.
Exactly. He's just always a loser, no matter if he competes or not.
I thought there was a better chance Brock came out and took the title again.
No, throws barrels. Donkey Brock.
Now, this is interesting. One of the bigger rumors that a lot of people have been saying was that Otis is not going to cash in on a world champ. He's not going to cash in on Strowman or Drew. Again, either or I think would be atrocious. But instead, he's going to cash in on the tag team champions. Now,
why?
Now, personally, I'm not a fan of that because like this Tucker, let's get New Day. But I think like what exactly. What bugs me about that is that like this is a briefcase intended for the world title. I mean, like I don't want the Money in the Bank to be an item that just feels so drastically devalued since its inception. And honestly, in recent years, it felt like it has. Like I felt like we're not getting significant Money in the Bank briefcase like reigns. Like we're not getting that. Like Carmelo was the last one, but I mean, in hindsight, when you compare Carmelo to like Edge, RVD, Cena, Orton, etc., like it's like, damn, that's like pretty weak in hindsight. And so the fact now that you now transition this to a potential tag team reign, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah. Pete, your thoughts on the rumors and just frankly Otis winning?
Well, for a start, let's just put it out there that Otis is probably the only person having a really good 2020.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's the person who has had a fantastic time. He got the woman of his dreams and somehow looked into a Money in the Bank briefcase as well. I don't want to see it on the tag team titles. I'd want to see it maybe teased a little bit, and then him even saying to Tucker that he's not going to do it, and then maybe Tucker getting actually a little bit pissed off with him over it. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't want to see Otis with the world title either.
No.
And I kind of think I want to see him lose the case to somebody else.
I think it's happening. I think it's happening.
Not Ziggler, though.
As sad as that's not Ziggler. Like
AJ.
You've introduced cross-brand now. Lose it. I would be fine with him losing it to AJ. I'd be fine with him losing it to, like, if AJ challenges it They set up a match for Backlash, and he loses the briefcase at Backlash. Maybe because Tucker cost him because he said he wasn't going to cash it in on the tag team titles.
He makes it with Mandy Rose over Tucker's body.
But I don't want to see Tucker with. I don't want to see Otis with the world title, and I don't want to see the cash in on the tag titles. So.
Newsflash: Pete hates dreams.
I do.
Wolf.
Okay,
it's why I picked Ziggler at Mania as well.
It's a dream killer, Pete.
Wolf.
No. Don't use it for the tag title match. You can get a tag title match so easily otherwise. The Viking Raiders challenged a basketball game for one. And like Lucha House Party got one by coming out and saying, "Hi, we exist. Can we be in this match too?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's so easy to get a tag title match. You don't need a briefcase. Jesus. Like, that's just a waste of resources. I actually don't know. Otis could become world champion. 2020 is weird enough. I could see it happening. I wouldn't necessarily mind it. I don't want this to lead into a feud with Tucky because he's somehow the seventh most relevant person in a storyline that also includes a nameless hacker and Dolph Ziggler. And I don't know. Maybe Otis fails to cash in. The most likely scenario I see is him losing it in a match to somebody else. I'm happy for Otis. It was a great shock. I love being shocked. And if you have a story to go along with it, as long as you're not just making it up as you go, then go with it. But I'm not sure exactly where we go from here. And that's kind of exciting for me.
RJ.
Sorry, Jesse.
RJ. Let's go with RJ and I'll wrap up with Pete. Yeah, RJ.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, it was a big shock. And look, Otis is it's tough to say that he's on fire because there's no crowd. But with the social media and with, he's popular. People like Otis. People want to see Otis. I don't think if he does end up cashing it in, this is not going to happen until there's a crowd, I think. If there's a crowd anytime soon, because I think they want to see maybe what the crowd reaction will be if Otis cashes in. Because I actually don't know how over Otis is right now. He's over with me. But I don't know how over he is with the actual live crowd because there isn't one. But I've read rumors that Vince loves Otis, and it's possible that he gets a singles push. I really don't want to see this go for the tag titles. For one, there is no more women's case, so there's not going to be somebody that cashes in on a women's case. So there's not going to be a briefcase used properly if this gets cashed in on the tag team titles. So the fact that there's only a men's case now after what happened on Raw with Becky and Asuka, they have to use this case properly, I think. Whether he loses it to AJ and hopefully not Dolph Ziggler, please not Dolph Ziggler. I think he's going to lose it to maybe AJ or Corbin or somebody that was in that match. I think it's possible he loses it, but if he keeps it, the person who holds the case has to use it properly. Whether he holds it for a long time and cashes in, it has to be cashed in on a world champion. It's just
RJ, sorry. Yeah, sorry, your last point.
Yeah, no, I was just going to pretty much say more points that Pete said. Why, or in that Wolf said, why would you cash in on the tag team titles when you could just walk out and say, hey, I'm a tag team. Let's have a match.
Before we go on to Pete, RJ, if Corbin does win that briefcase, I will drive to your place and I'll slap you across the face for saying that. Pete, you had one final point before him?
It was just because Wolf brought it up. The person I don't know how this could happen, but I would love to see Otis drop the case to the hacker, but still not reveal who the hell it is. Don't say who it is. Just leave it as this mystery person.
Watch the hacker turn out to be Rami Malek from Mr. Robot.
It can literally be anyone. And it suits WWE because they like last minute bookings, so they can decide 6 months down the line who this person finally is.
And it'll end up being Hornswoggle.
You don't reveal who this is until they cash in. And when Hornswoggle wins the title, we'll all be jumping for joy.
How would you Jesus Christ. How would you even how would you book that? How would you give the hacker the briefcase? Because he's not going to appear in a match.
I wanted him to win the match originally.
He wears a mask.
I kind of had this. If he'd actually come in and won the match and took the case away, that'd been great. But yeah, you could have a masked wrestler do it, or
have Chad Gable come out in a mask. Yeah,
rig the referee to giving him it. Blackmail Otis into giving him it. But I don't know how you get him that case. But I would love to see a mystery person.
This is the most Lucha Underground episode
ever. Cash in at any point.
I'm gonna end it with this thought on the Otis briefcase. I mean, like Wolf, I like to be shocked with WWE. I just don't know if this is a shock that I wanted with Otis because you kind of set yourself in a spot where, oh crap, like what do we do? Of course, the last person to lose a briefcase in a match is Mr. Kennedy, I believe, in 2007 when Edge, when Edge got that briefcase, cashed it in that same week on SmackDown against The Undertaker. So at least from that perspective, it would be unique because it hasn't been like handed down like that in that format since. Aside from that, I mean, this should be interesting, but I 100% expect Otis to lose that briefcase. I agree. It should not be for the tag titles. That's not what their briefcase was designed for. I think it's a slap in the face to all the previous champions have cashed in to get that world title glory. Yeah. That is not what you do with that briefcase. You did not put it for tag team titles, which again, you can just walk out with a pamphlet or with like a ticket counter from a deli, like a ticket from a deli counter and say, hey, I would like a tag team championship match, please. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird spot, but we'll see how it goes. Let's close off on that note from Asuka. Obviously, Asuka winning, Becky with the bombshell of a lifetime. She is expecting. First of all, congratulations to her and Seth. That is amazing to hear. And
that's taken well.
Yeah, it was such a wholesome what?
Seth's taking it well.
Yeah, the way that Seth came out on Raw last night was like, oh my goodness, am I actually going to be a father? Like that crazy looked face. Yeah, Wolf is doing that face perfectly. You're just missing the long hair, Wolf. You need to get a wig.
Give me a few more months in quarantine, I'll get there.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting there too. But like I like I said, I don't know why it sounded disappointed. I am so happy. I'm so happy for Becky and Seth. And like it was, like I said, it was so pure, so wholesome, so like such a great moment. And I heard a really, really bad take yesterday that made me snap. And Pete and Wolf know what it is. I just want to quickly say it. I heard that with this. Oh God, it made me angry. That like with Becky losing the title the way that she is, if like at the time it wasn't confirmed or not, but like the point was with Becky losing the title by like relinquishing it all goes for nothing because she's not getting pinned and handing the championship down that way, which again, in my opinion, I thought was one of the worst takes I think I've ever heard in the history of wrestling. That like, I don't think it needed that quote unquote Becky pinfall to make the championship worth something. Her reign was, I think, amazing for sure. I don't think it needed that. I mean, maybe not to be all end all, but she had a pretty great reign and she was just so great even before she won the title. From that SummerSlam moment with Charlotte and on, I think Becky was on top of the world and she really made that division stand out. So it was one of those situations where kind of like Asuka when her NXT title reign ended, you don't need that pinfall. You don't need that quote unquote rub or push just to make the championship mean something. And I'll say it again, one of the worst things I've heard in my life. But RJ, I'm going to start with you on the thoughts of Becky and all that and Asuka winning the championship, which by the way, I'm happy that Asuka has that. I think that makes her a Grand Slam Women's Champion.
She's the only person who's done it all. She's got the tag teams, she's got the NXT, she's got the Raw, she's got the SmackDown.
She has a Royal Rumble in the process.
Yeah. She's the best women's wrestler in the world, in my opinion.
She's great. Like, so
she's amazing.
Ooh, big take.
Yeah, that is a big take. RJ, your thoughts on the whole thing?
I thought congrats to Becky, obviously. I think the way that she handed it off to Asuka and was like, you didn't know this is for the title, but you still went and won this match. I think that still kind of gets Asuka over a little bit more as a high competitor, even though she didn't beat Becky. And the fact with what you just said about Becky relinquishing the title instead of getting pinned, like other than Shayna, who is really going to beat Becky? That's like credible.
Sure.
So if Shayna wasn't going to do that at WrestleMania, I guess this is how, I mean, they probably knew. I don't know how long they've known that she was pregnant for. I don't know if they knew that she was going to beat China or lose to Shayna before that. Anyway, unrelated. But how good was Shayna on Raw though? In the promos in the back,
it made me cringe a little bit. It was a kind of that, to me. It was that heel heat that you're like, oh man, I don't know if that's what you. If that's the
I thought it was great.
You son of a.
I thought it was amazing.
Kind of awkward.
I felt like she seemed a little bit uncomfortable. She almost looked uncomfortable saying it as well.
Yeah. I don't know, like to me, like I mean,
I
like
liked it.
To me, like there's really good like heel moments to get you that heat. I just don't know if that's the route that I would have gone for because it's I don't know. To me, that situation in a pregnancy, I don't think that's something that should be touched. But again, like what hasn't WWE touched in their storylines? But
it's so like I don't know. Like I thought that was very like for her character, like middle school bully that like beat you up sort of deal. It's like your kids suck. Like, kids suck. That kid's gonna suck. Look who her husband is. Like, he sucks. That kid's gonna suck. I thought it all worked for me personally.
Is he the father? Like, it's
damn. I'm not. I mean, I was never a huge fan of Shayna's promo skills, but I thought she really sold me last night. Personally, it worked well for me. I thought.
Oh, I think it's sold to perfection, which is why I'm reacting the way that I am. But it's like, oh damn, son. Like that's a quote. Wolf.
Well, if we had recorded this podcast yesterday before Monday Night Raw and all this came out, I would have a very different take about if we're just going to do Asuka versus Becky again, and if we're going to end that reign on a cash-in, that just seems anticlimactic. But with everything that's come out, I like the way it's done. Asuka makes sense as the next champion. This gets her over as a face, just seeing how wholesome the reaction with her and Becky was. And to get a little silly, Jose's favorite thing, when Becky took the case and was like, this wasn't for a contract for the championship. I got some Willy Wonka vibes in there. You aren't just getting a lifetime supply of chocolate. I'm giving you my factory.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good analogy. No, I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. I agree. Well done.
It's and then Asuka gets that Charlie Bucket look. Wait, really? Oh my God! Yay! It opens up a lot of possibilities. Becky's going to get a huge pop whenever she comes back. She'll probably win the Royal Rumble with a baby Bjorn on, and frankly, I like it. It's a good angle. Becky gives the rub to Asuka without necessarily getting pinned. We don't know how long she's been pregnant. That's probably why she wasn't in a feud going into Money in the Bank. They were trying to figure that stuff out. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a good angle.
I think it might do something with Seth too. I don't know if this whole two-faced I don't know what happened out there when I poked your eye with steel steps. I don't know if there's going to be some good guy, bad guy parenting crisis. That's
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Rollins.
yeah, exactly. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Rollins. I think some good character work is coming from Seth after this.
Pete, your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, I think it worked out really well. I think it's obviously a congratulations to Becky and a congratulations to Seth as well, because he gets to keep his reputation of putting top stars on the shelf.
Sting, Balor,
yeah, but obviously great news to both of them, and you have now a ready-made storyline for when Becky does finally return to come back for the belt she never lost with whoever has it then. So yeah, I think it worked out for the best. I thought Asuka's reaction was so genuine. It was heartwarming.
It really did look like they did not tell her that was the case.
I don't think
it seemed very genuine.
It looked like she had no idea that the championship was in a briefcase. Had no idea about the Becky news, which I presume that they just say, "Hey, we're gonna have Becky walk out with your briefcase and just freak out. That's all you need to do, just freak out." And so,
just go
in character, wouldn't you get suspicious when the briefcase just feels a little heavier? It's paper isn't usually this heavy.
Sorry, Pete, I cut you off there.
Yeah, but no, I think it worked well. Going back the Shayna thing, I think it can work. I just hope they don't go too overboard with it and turn her all Gene Snitsky. But
oh God,
it wasn't my fault.
Kick the baby.
But yeah, if she just keeps just being an evil, horrible person, then fine. And I think I will look forward to a Shayna versus Asuka feud down the line as well. I think that'd be a good feud for the title.
Has it happened? No, right? I want to say no.
They had a match on Raw.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah, they won a match on Raw. But
they had Kyrie versus Shayna on Raw. They teased the Raw match and then took it away.
Yes.
Yeah, well, if you had one final point to make.
I hope this kind of leads to Shayna Baszler coming out with a bunch of goons and wearing a gas mask and telling the people that they stink.
I regret throwing that
to you. You people stink.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Just to reiterate, nothing. I echo everybody's statements. It's like I said. I'm going to say it again. It's so great to hear all that. So congratulations to the two of them. Congratulations to Seth for pulling off the "oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to be a father. What have I done?" look on Raw, and especially in the coming weeks. So good for them. So just to wrap everything up, just to bring everything home. Your thoughts. So out of 5 stars, what would you rank it as, RJ?
The pay-per-view? At least a 4. I loved it. I am like on record. I had a blast watching Money in the Bank. I thought it was going to be just fine, and I had a blast with it. I think it was at least a 4. I'll give it a 4.5.
Wolf.
3.5.
Pete.
I think I'll split the difference. I'll go with 4 because I think I had one great match, one entertaining match, an okay rest of the card. But more importantly, congratulations to me because I'm your champ.
And I am going to I'm going to give it a 3.5. I was thinking of 3, but I'm like, no, there were some like high spots here and there, so I'm going to give it a 3.5. I mean, like, yeah, it was what it was, and for entertainment value, for a sports entertainment value, the Money in the Bank, I think just that. Note that. That is that. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on. Thank you guys for doing this. It's always so fun. Pete, enjoy your new reign as Under the Middle Rope champion as Wolf continues to putt here. But yes, in the coming weeks, I haven't done too much AEW content, so Double or Nothing is going to be our next prediction show. So that should be highly entertaining. So Pete, hopefully it's a short-lived reign. Let's get to the closing. Thank you guys. You made it to the end of the episode, and of course, once again, congratulations to Pete on becoming the new Under the Middle Rope podcast champion. Of course, it could be very short-lived, as I said in the discussion. There's one thing that we don't do too often in this talk AEW, solely because WWE has a lot of crazy stuff that just has to be brought up, and sometimes it's in good light, sometimes or for most of the time, it's another bad light with WWE. But what else is doing with them? Next week, it is our AEW Double or Nothing predictions. We're gonna go right into another predictions because AEW is clearly important, and frankly, with how rare they do pay-per-views, we figured this is important to bring up, and this channel needs AEW content. So the same group from this week, I should say, is going to come back next week, and a fifth is also coming next week for the Double or Nothing predictions, which means that it's a 5-man show, and that's something that I hope to keep under control. That is going to be a fun, chaotic episode, I am very sure. So, as always, that is that. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. Do all this stuff, become a patron, follow me on social media, and of course you can always listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And like I said, subscribe here on YouTube. I can never do this right. Subscribe here on YouTube. I am Jose Tabata. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.